Good afternoon, welcome back to the channel. Good to see all your smiling faces again. This is a 6-speed manual transmission and I'm going to teach you how to drive stick today. This comes with the electronic parking brake. It is a 2018 Honda Civic hatchback. These vehicles are rather easy to learn how to drive stick on. The clutch is pretty smooth in and out and the gears aren't that far apart. So by the end of this video, you should be able to go out and drive a manual transmission vehicle if you follow my instructions. Thanks for tuning in. Let's learn how to drive stick. Alright, here's a good look at the shift lever. You have your little diagram here of where every gear is in this gearbox, and that is good to know and have that on there just for somebody learning how to drive stick, because then you can really see where the gear is and then where you got to go next, just in case you forget where you are. But you want to make sure you're starting out in neutral, so make sure it's kind of wobbly like that in the center, and then again all the way over and down is reverse. When you do that, your backup camera, if you have one, will pop up automatically. The most important thing about the clutch is to really know your car and the car you're driving. Push the clutch all the way in, get used to where that heavy section of it is. That's really where it's going to engage and disengage, and that's where you're going to jump in and out of gear. So you want to know where that is in every car or the car you're driving. So as you're shifting gears, you want to make sure you're sitting in a comfortable position where you can reach the pedals, but you don't want to have to overextend to push any of these pedals in. You don't want to be too close to the steering wheel and you don't want to be too far away from the pedals. But you're going to have your gas pedal here, your brake pedal here, and then this is your clutch pedal. While you're driving, you don't want to rest your left foot on the clutch. It is going to wear it down, but just rest it over here on the left where this little space is for your foot, and you can drive here with the gas and the brake here. As we're shifting, you're going to want to come off the gas and then push on the clutch, shift into first, and then slowly come off the clutch to where you feel it catch, and then kind of feather it and match that with the opposite pressure of the gas. But everything is pretty much equal parts gas and clutch. So as you're coming out of first gear, for example, you're going to shift into second gear and then come off the clutch and then gas, or clutch in, shift up to third gear and then clutch out. If you're slowing down, say you're coming from third to second, you have your foot on the gas here. Of course, press the brake if you need to really press the brake and slow down, but you're going to clutch in, shift down into second, and then slowly feel that hot spot or that sweet spot of where you want that clutch to catch and not catch. You'll know where it catches and disengages when you feel that little heavy part of it right there. When you're shifting into first gear, of course, that's going to be your very low rolling speeds, just coming out of a parking spot or moving around in a parking lot. And then, of course, after that, you're going to have second gear and third gear, which is when you're really starting to accelerate and get up into the higher speeds. This gearbox is super easy to learn on. These gears aren't that far apart. The gates are pretty close, so first, second, third, fourth, etc. This one's pretty easy to learn on, unlike a sports car like a Corvette or a Camaro, where the clutch is going to feel a little bit heavier and these gears are going to feel a little bit different. But that is the easier one to learn on, is more of a commuter car like a Honda or Toyota for that matter. The clutch on this car is actually also super easy to learn. It's not that heavy. You can push it in and out, and there's not a lot of pressure pushing back on you, and you'll feel when you need to kind of give it more gas or less, you'll feel that little bit. It's like super easy right here, and then after that it starts to get kind of real heavy. That's the point where you want to get used to, like, okay, now I'm going to put the gas on and match it, and just sit here in a car and sit in neutral and practice when you're going to come off and come on, and then you kind of know that midway point, and it's just you're matching perfect opposites of taking the clutch off, more gas, or vice versa. Another really easy way to get used to just how the movement is and where the gears and gates are in the gearbox is just jump in a car with it off like I am and get used to putting your feet on and off of the pedals down here, and then just learn kind of the movement of where this is and how far apart these gates are, and put the clutch in and go to first, then go to second, then go up to third, fourth, etc. And then really get used to the movement of that. And then neutral, of course, is in the middle. You'll kind of feel that just sit pretty wobbly in the center. That's how you know it's in neutral. These cars with the electronic parking brakes or brake hold, if you click that up, then you're going to be able to kind of put it in neutral and sit. Instead of having your foot on the brake the whole time, you can take your feet off the pedals and sit, and it's not going to stall out because it's in neutral and you have this parking brake on. It's the same thing as pulling up on the old school e-brake right here, but these newer cars, almost all of them are going to have this electronic parking brake. So let's say you're in 5th gear and you want to pop down into 6th, and you're not sure if you're going to be in reverse if you go down. If you miss it, you'll know, just keep your foot on the clutch and just go down into 6th. And if that backup camera doesn't come on, then you're good. Now you're in 6th gear. If we go all the way over, then you don't want to take your foot off the clutch until you go back up into either 5th or 6th. So as we're getting started here, we're going to go ahead and put our foot on the clutch and on the brake, and then we're going to push down on the electronic parking brake, and then we're going to go ahead and shift into 1st gear. Now that we are in 1st gear, we still have our foot on the clutch, and we can let off of the brake. I'm on a pretty flat surface, as you can see, so even though I'm letting off of the brake, we're not rolling anywhere, and the car isn't stalling out because I have my foot fully on the clutch. But as you start to let off of the clutch, you're going to notice that the car will either start to stall out as you get too far off the clutch, or if you find that perfect happy medium, I'm not even pressing the gas, and the car will start rolling as you just lightly let off the clutch. Now if you want to give it more gas and roll forward, give it more, and then just match that equal pressure on the gas that you're taking off of the clutch. Now we're rolling in 1st gear here. So again, now I'm completely off of the clutch because I have enough gas and momentum to keep me going. As you sense yourself slowing down, if your car starts to jerk or buck, it's probably time to put the clutch on and figure out which gear you're going to be in, or you're slowing down to a stop. So as we are rolling a little bit faster here, I'm going to go ahead and switch gears. So foot in on the clutch, and then we're going to shift down into 2nd, and then equal pressure off, and now we're smooth sailing in 2nd gear, fast enough where the doors lock automatically. So again, this is a pretty flat surface. This is just a parking lot. Everybody says if you want to learn how to drive a stick shift, learn on a hill. I think that's the stupidest idea you could ever do, just because you're going to stall out, you're going to make yourself mad, and you're probably going to, you're not going to destroy the clutch on the car, but you're not really going to make it easy for yourself. Go to a flat surface, borrow somebody's car, or buy a car that's a manual transmission. It's not scary. You can learn how to do it. Now we're going to downshift, foot on the clutch, back into 1st, and then foot slightly off the clutch and back on the gas. We're rocking and rolling. So it's really just equal pressure, like I said, of gas, and then if you need to clutch in like that, take your foot off. And if you need to brake, you can brake and then slow down. We are completely stopped, but I'm keeping my foot on the clutch because I'm still in gear. Make sure, very, very important, if you want to take your foot off of the clutch while you're sitting still, you have to make sure that you're in neutral. Then you can take your foot off of the clutch and just sit with the brake on. Now my foot's on the brake. If I took my foot off of that brake, the car would stall out. So I'm going to click up on the emergency parking brake. As soon as that's on, or you pull up on the lever in the older vehicles, now I can take my foot off of the brake, and the car is running, holding still, and it's not going to stall out. To turn the car off, you want to put it into gear just in case you're on a hill, or if something gives out, it doesn't roll away. And how you would do that is you would just make sure the parking brake is on, and then for my car here, this is a regular key, not a push button. You're just going to turn the car off, and then you're going to put your foot on the clutch again, and then just put the car into gear. That way, if the car ever fails, transmission fails, or you're on a hill, you're not going to roll anywhere because it's still going to be locked into gear. Just put it into 1st, or it doesn't matter, reverse, whatever you want. That way your car doesn't roll away. Alright guys, thanks for checking out the video. Hopefully this helped you learn how to drive stick. And again, if you're nervous, just get into a car that you have access to, or even go to a dealership and sit in a car that's sitting in the showroom that's possibly manual transmission, and just run through the gears while it's off. That's the easiest way to get used to how it works and just the motion of the manual transmission. And the only way to learn and do it is just get out there and try. And if you really want to be a risk taker, buy a car that's manual transmission and learn how to drive it. You'll learn pretty quick, I promise. If you have any questions or you want to leave a comment down below, feel free to do so. I appreciate you checking out the video. If it's your first time, give it a like, make sure you subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next video.